Shumba sat on his throne, staring at nothing, lost in thought. The weight of silence between him and Leona had grown unbearable. She hadn't spoken to him the whole day, not since the last time Raya had pulled him away for a walk. He had tried to explain, tried to say it was only conversation, that it was about Naraka, that it meant nothing, but how could he convince a lioness who had already made up her mind? And now, here she was again. "Can we take a walk?" Raya asked gently, her voice like warm smoke curling into his ears. He didn't answer, just nodded. He didn't want to talk, but curiosity tugged at him. She always brought trouble, but still. He followed. They walked, this time taking a different path than before, deeper into the forest, away from the village lights. The trees around them whispered in the breeze, their footsteps soft on the earth. Shumba kept quiet. He didn't trust himself when she was this close. "Have you given any thought to what we talked about?" she asked softly. He inhaled. "Yes, and I don't think I can help you." There was a pause. Raya stopped walking and turned to face him. Her jaw was tight, her eyes simmering. "Is there something I can offer you, anything at all?" she asked, voice low. "Anything that might change your mind?" Her hand brushed against his, lightly, purposefully. It was like lightning touched his skin. He tried to breathe, but the air was thick now. She stepped closer. "Don't lie to me, Shumba," she whispered. "I can feel it. I can feel your heartbeat, even now. You still want this as much as I do." You are watching The Tales of the Savannah. Subscribe and be part of the tribe. Now let's get back to the story. He turned away. "Look at me, Shumba." Her voice was almost desperate now. "Why are you fighting what's already in you? Just let go, Shumba. Let me in. Let me have this. Let me have you. Just once more." He clenched his fists. "Please, Shumba. For old time's sake. For everything we once were." He looked at her then, truly looked. The glint in her eyes, the curve of her lips, the wildness, the hunger. She was intoxicating. Still. His voice dropped, raw and vulnerable. "You don't understand, Raya. You don't understand what it means to stand before Naraka. His presence, his power, it strips you bare. You don't summon him like some traveling king. He is not to be played with." "I know. And still I ask," she said, stepping closer, now chest to chest with him, her breath on his lips. He stared into her eyes. So many nights came rushing back. Her laughter, her lips, her fire. But this was different. He shook his head, voice steady now. "No, Raya, I'm not calling Naraka for you." The silence that followed was deafening. Her eyes widened, not with sadness, but with something darker. Her voice dropped to a hiss. "Fine. You've made your choice, Shumba." He turned, ready to walk away. Her voice cut through the trees, now loud, trembling with fury. "You'll regret this, Shumba," she shouted after him. He turned, stunned. "If you won't do it willingly, you will be forced to. I tried to save you, but you are beyond saving." He stared at her, heart pounding. She was no longer soft, no longer pleading. Her face was like stone, her rage simmering just beneath the surface. Her eyes were sharp enough to cut. He had never seen her like this, and suddenly it was clear she didn't come for love, she came for power, and now she would do whatever it took to get it. 6 days. That's all that remained, and the gods were already watching. Far from the village, in the sacred clearing, Kosa waited. He stood alone, his eyes fixed on the stars above, calculating, watching, waiting for the celestial map to shift. He could feel the power building. It was almost time. The alignment had begun. The gateway to the heavens would tremble open soon. 6 days, no more. And then, footsteps. He didn't turn, not right away. He knew those steps. When Raya was confident, she walked like a queen, bold, proud, sure of herself. But now her steps were hesitant, slow, heavy with shame. He waited. Then, slowly, he turned to her. His eyes were dark, cold. "So, You failed. His voice was low and growly, but it cut like a blade. Raya lowered her eyes, the words sinking deep into her chest. For now, he fears Naraka, she said quietly. He does not want to summon him. Kosa stared at her. So, you've lost your touch, he said flatly. The woman who could seduce even the wind now can't move a broken king. You've lost it, Raya, you've become weak. She swallowed, her throat dry. I can try again, just give me... No, he cut her off like a storm. There is no time, no room for second chances. He stepped closer. Each step felt like thunder under the earth. We will go with plan B. His voice dropped deeper. We break him. If Naraka will not come by choice, then he will come by force. Raya flinched. The words hit her harder than she expected. She had failed. She thought she still had power over Shumba. She thought he'd fold, that the fire between them would be enough. But he had looked her in the eyes and walked away, chose fear over her. Kosa stood inches from her now. His presence burned. You're useless to me now, Raya. His eyes scanned her face like she was something beneath him. Useless. She opened her mouth, wanting to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. She couldn't fight it. She had no excuse. Kosa shook his head slowly. You have failed. You are nothing to me now. I cannot use you. And if I cannot use you... He let the rest hang in the air. Then he brushed past her, not even looking back, disappearing into the shadows of the trees. Raya stood alone in the clearing, the stars still glowing above. Her eyes stung, her fists clenched. She had come in strength, and now she stood stripped. The tears came, hot, silent, angry. But she didn't cry out. She just stood there, alone and ashamed. All morning, Chipo had been marching around the yard with the dog glued to her side like a soldier on duty. Dog, sit, she commanded with full authority. The dog blinked at her, tilted its head, and trotted off to chase a chicken. Dog, come, she yelled, pointing like a general. It chased the chicken harder. Jabali sat under the shade of the hut, watching with mild amusement. Chipo, don't you think it's about time you give that dog a name? I'm not ready, father, she replied seriously, marching back with her hands on her hips. A name is important. I need to study her first, understand her energy. Jabali raised a brow. You're studying a puppy's energy? Chipo nodded proudly. Yes. See how she moves? How she reacts? What if I named her Porridge, and then found out she's a killer? Jabali laughed out loud. At least she's not one of the chickens. Exactly, Chipo grinned. I finally have a real friend. The dog came barreling toward her, tripped over its own paw and rolled in the dirt. Chipo helped her up with exaggerated care. You should definitely call her Porridge. She is definitely not a killer. Jabali was now wheezing with laughter. Chipo was not impressed. I think I should meditate on it, she said, walking to the center of the yard and sitting cross-legged on the ground. Maybe the ancestors will send me a name. Jabali chuckled, shaking his head. Do you think the ancestors are just sitting around waiting to name your puppy? You never know, Chipo said, closing her eyes and humming. Shh, I need quiet to channel. Jabali was still laughing when Akina stormed out from the kitchen. Chipo, she barked, her voice sharp. Chipo snapped her eyes open. Yes, mother? What are you doing? I'm meditating. You said you were channeling. Same thing, isn't it? She said, blinking innocently. No, it is not the same thing, Akina snapped, her voice low and dangerous now. Don't you ever try to channel. Do you hear me? Jabali's smile faded. Darling, it was just a joke. Akina turned to him. It starts as a joke, Jabali, then. She almost said more, but stopped herself. Her jaw tightened. Her hands shook slightly. The witches. Their words echoed in her head. She will bleed on the next full moon. The Sisterhood had chosen, and they were watching. Chipo and Jabali stared at her, stunned by the sudden outburst. "I mean it, Chipo. Don't joke about these things," she said firmly, before turning around and disappearing back into the hut. The silence hung between father and daughter. "Is she okay?" Chipo whispered. "I don't know," Jabali said. Later that morning, after breakfast was served in silence, Akina wrapped herself in her shawl and packed a small bundle. "I have to go to the next village," she told Jabali. He looked up. "Do you want company?" "No," she said quickly. "It's something I have to do alone." She didn't tell him that she was going to see her, the one they called Nyala, the witch who once helped Paka, the lion shifter. A woman so feared that even elders whispered her name. Akina had never met her, but now she had no choice. Her bloodline was calling, and the Sisterhood had spoken. She had to save her daughter, like her mother had once saved her, before the full moon, before it was too late. Akina walked alone, her shawl pulled tightly around her shoulders as the wind howled through the trees. She had walked for miles. Each step felt heavier than the last. She reached the clearing and paused. The hut was simple, round with a thatched roof, smoke curling from a small hole at the top. Outside, tending to her plants, was Niala herself, back turned. Akina hesitated, then cleared her throat softly. Niala didn't move at first. Then, slowly, she turned her head. "I'm not seeing anyone today," she said, her voice soft but stern. She turned back to her plants again. "I was hoping you could," Akina replied gently. "I'm sorry if it's a bad time." Niala turned back again. This time, her eyes locked with Akina's. Something flickered behind her eyes. Recognition. She had seen that face before. Not in this world. In the bones. In visions. She stood slowly. "Do I know you?" she asked, stepping forward. "No. I don't think we've met," Akina said earnestly. Then Niala remembered she had seen this woman in one of her visions, in her consultation with Kitapo. Niala's eyes widened. "This should be interesting," she thought. "I will make an exception. Come." She turned and led Akina into the hut. Inside it was warm, the air heavy with the smell of burning herbs and dried flowers. Clay jars lined the walls, and charms dangled from the ceiling like forgotten prayers. "Sit," Niala said, motioning to a woven mat on the floor. Akina sat. Her hands were trembling. "I'm here about my daughter, Chipo." That caught Niala's attention. Another daughter. She leaned in. "Go on." Akina looked at her, eyes already wet. "The Sisterhood has come to my home. They said she will bleed at the next full moon. They've come for her. They want her to receive the gift." Nyala's face froze. "And you don't want her to have it?" "No," Akina whispered. "I know what it means. My mother hid me from it. I want to do the same for Chipo. Please, I don't want this for her." Nyala looked at Akina. "Do you even know who you're asking me to defy?" Akina shook her head. "I have heard stories, but I do not have knowledge of who they really are." Nyala looked Akina dead in the eyes. "What I am about to tell you must never leave this room. Do you understand?" Akina nodded, her throat dry. "There are 6 ancient disciplines in the Sisterhood of the Hidden Moon. Each one is tied to a force of nature, and each bloodline carries the imprint of one. These disciplines are not chosen. They are inherited, written in bone and blood." Akina leaned forward, caught between fear and fascination. "The discipline of flame," Niala began, "belongs to those who burn with rage, passion, and destruction. These witches are warriors, known for their temper and their power in battle. The discipline of bone, those are the witches of the dead, mediums, necromancers, keepers of ancestral memory. The discipline of wind, seers and dreamwalkers. They speak in riddles, see across time, and carry prophecy in their lungs. Discipline of nature, plants and animals. Those who belong to this order are bound to the breath of the earth, to roots that run deep, to leaves that whisper truths, and to creatures that walk, crawl, or fly under the sky." Nyala paused. "Then there is the discipline of tides," she said slowly with reverence. "The rarest, the most unpredictable. Women of the river, the ocean, The rain. Their emotions pull like tides. They can heal or drown. They are drawn to water because water is drawn to them. Akina was trembling now. "You're saying..." "Yes," Nyala said. "You belong to the tides. So does Chipo. And Kitapo. That is your bloodline. Your mother, her mother, and all those before her. That is why you fell for a merman. That is why your child is a creature of the sea. That is why Chipo is always at the river. The tides call to your daughters." Akina was overwhelmed. Nyala knew a lot about her life. She didn't want to ask how. She wiped tears from her face. "But what does this mean? For Chipo? For Kitapo?" "It means the Sisterhood has waited long enough," Nyala said. "Kitapo cannot receive the gift. She is of another world, so it must pass to the next eligible daughter, Chipo." Akina closed her eyes. "I don't want this for her." "You may not," Nyala said softly. "But if she is not initiated under the full moon, the gift will turn. It will curse her. She will start to hear voices, feel things she cannot explain, rage like a storm. Her blood will boil against itself. Many have died this way, or gone mad." Akina was quiet. "But there is one more option we can explore," Niala said. Akina opened her eyes. "If your eldest daughter, Kitapo, agrees to take on the responsibility, the Sisterhood has to accept that. If she performs the rite of claiming the gift, Chipo will be safe." "She is a mermaid," Akina whispered. "She lives in the water." "Exactly," Nyala said. "And the Sisterhood does not rule the waters. That is the loophole." Akina shook her head, her voice shaking. "Lulenga, Kitapo's father, he will never agree to this. Not in 1,000 moons." Nyala turned to her gently, her voice calm but firm. "Maybe," she said. "You should let Kitapo decide." Akina blinked, stunned. "She's young. It's unfair to have her decide." "Yes," Nyala replied, "but she is the first daughter of your bloodline. The thread of power already runs through her. Whether she accepts it or not, it is her calling." "You cannot stop the calling, Akina. None of us can." Akina lowered her eyes, conflicted. The idea of choosing one daughter over the other, passing this burden to Kitapo, it felt cruel. But if the witches could not reach the sea, if they could not rule what belonged to water, then perhaps Kitapo would be safe from the Sisterhood's reach. Nyala watched her closely, then spoke. "The thread of power you fear? It's not a curse, Akina. It's the source. A river of energy that flows through the world. All of us can tap into it. Some more than others. Some call it a gift. Some call it magic. Some call it a curse." She smiled faintly, her eyes distant. "Some call me a witch. Others call me a healer. I've heard both all my life. I was once a girl, like Chipo, like Kitapo. My village feared me. They drove me out. They thought I brought death when I brought life. I didn't have anyone to guide me. I had to learn alone." Akina's throat tightened. "I don't want that for my daughter." "Then help Kitapo understand it," Nyala said. "Help her claim it before it claims her sister. The gift is not evil. It simply opens a door to the source. Whether she uses it for light or darkness, that is her choice." Akina sat in silence. How could she even explain this to Kitapo? But what other choice did she have? Time was running out. Kitapo and Mwamba had been deep in a quiet, serious conversation when the door creaked open. Mami Wata stepped out with the calm grace of a storm about to hit. She didn't look at them. She didn't speak. She just moved steady back to her quarters. No hesitation, no backward glance. The moment the door closed behind her, Kitapo and Mwamba exchanged a look and rushed inside. Lulenga was standing still, frozen. His face looked like someone had told him the moon would fall from the sky. "What did she say?" Mwamba asked, already knowing it was something big. "What happened, father?" Kitapo followed. Lulenga exhaled slowly, like the weight of the ocean had just sat on his chest. "She proposed marriage to me." The room went quiet, like the air itself was listening. Kitapo blinked. Mwamba stayed still. They were both trying to wrap their heads around the meaning. "And what did you say to her?" Kitapo finally asked. "She gave me until tomorrow to answer." Mwamba folded his arms. "And are you going to accept?" "I don't know," Lulenga said honestly. "I truly don't know." Kitapo tilted her head. Her voice was calm, but her words had strength now. "It is a good match, father. Her kingdom is powerful. It would complement ours. You would be wise to say yes." Lulenga turned to look at her. There was pride in his eyes. His daughter had grown. She was thinking like a ruler now, like someone who understood what it meant to carry a crown. Her eyes, though, carried something else. Mwamba nodded. "She's right. If the council hears about this, they won't ask for your feelings. They'll demand your loyalty to the kingdom. And there's also the issue of Ziva. Did you speak to her about him?" Lulenga looked at Kitapo. His voice grew softer. "Kitapo, please, let me speak with Mwamba alone." "Father," she said, trying to hide her hurt, "I'm old enough to be part of this conversation." "You are," he said gently, "but not for this part of the discussion." Her lips pressed tight. "You always do this, father," she said, voice low, sharp with frustration. And she left. Lulenga sighed as the door clicked shut. Mwamba stepped closer. "She admitted she and Ziva have an understanding, but she said he doesn't own her. She's a queen. She chooses for herself." "She's not wrong," Mwamba said. "Ziva is married now, to the Snake Queen. That's a closed door. You're not taking anything. But Ziva is still my friend. And you are a king, Lulenga. You have to lead with your head sometimes, not just your heart." Lulenga sank into a chair. "She frightens me, Mwamba. She's a force. I've never met a woman like her." Mwamba chuckled. "That's my kind of woman." Lulenga looked up, curious. "What does that even mean?" "It means this. Women like her aren't moved by fear. They're moved by strength. And strength isn't always about muscles and war. It's about knowing what you want, standing tall, and making her believe you can carry her fire without getting burned." Lulenga narrowed his eyes. "You make it sound like a battle." "It is," Mwamba grinned. "A beautiful one." "All right, Casanova, what do I do?" "There are 3 things," Mwamba said, his voice low, confidential. Lulenga leaned in, hungry for guidance. "Step 1, make her wait." Lulenga nearly choked. "Make Mami Wata wait?" "Yes," Mwamba said firmly. "She gave you a day. Don't rush to answer. Let her stew a little. Morning? No. Afternoon? No. You wait till dusk. Let her wonder." Lulenga wiped a sudden bead of sweat from his brow. "And step 2? Mwamba stepped closer, voice now a whisper. "Step 2. When you answer, don't give her a yes. Give her a condition, a strong one. Something only a king would ask. Something that proves this isn't just about her choosing you. It's about both of you choosing each other." Lulenga nodded slowly, absorbing the weight of it. "And the 3rd step?" he asked. Mwamba smiled that hunter's smile. He leaned in and whispered the final step. Lulenga sat back. "And this works?" "Yes," Mwamba said confidently. "Every time." Lulenga nodded. "All right, then I'll try it your way." As the 2 men talked beyond the closed door, Kitapo sat on the balcony, staring at the sea. Her mind raced, not with jealousy, but with questions. Would this marriage erase her mother forever? Could politics and duty swallow her hopes of seeing her family whole? She wanted to cry, but she didn't. Not now. Instead, she watched the horizon, wishing someone, anyone, could tell her how to balance love and duty. Tomorrow would come fast, and with it, an answer that could change everything. Mami Wata had not slept. She tossed and turned through the night, eyes wide open in the dark, questioning herself. Had she made a mistake by proposing outright to him? Perhaps she had been too forceful, too bold. She had made her offer. If that was a mistake, then so be it. He would give her his answer this morning. If he said no, she would leave his kingdom with her head held high. She had come to ask, not to beg. But deep inside, she hoped, desperately, that he would say yes. Because if he didn't, the embarrassment, the shame, the bruised pride, it would sting. She woke early. She prepared herself, and then she waited. Nothing came. She thought of going to him, but pride held her back. Let him come to me, she thought. Noon came, still nothing. Her anger began to rise, slow and steady. She was a queen, and he was keeping her waiting. How dare he? Afternoon passed, still silence. Now worry crept in. What if he was ignoring her? What if he had already decided and the silence was his answer? Her chest felt tight. Thoughts raced, her patience cracked. Then, at dusk, a knock at the door. "Yes," she said quietly. A messenger stepped in. "The king would like an audience with you." She wanted to lash out, but the day had drained her. Her rage had simmered for too long, boiled dry into something more fragile. Raw emotion. She entered the chamber. He was standing, waiting, his face calm, just staring at her. "Mami Wata," Lulenga said softly, "thank you for your patience." Her face remained calm, but the vein on her neck pulsed. Her fury had not left, it simply hid beneath the surface. In his heart, Lulenga thought, "I hope Mwamba is right, because if he isn't, this will not end well." He remembered Mwamba's words, "Stick to the script, you'll be fine." And so he did. "I have thought long and hard about your proposal," he began, "and I've consulted others." Mami Wata's expression tightened. Consulted others? She had expected a yes or a no, not this. "There are aspects I do not agree with," he said, "and I'd like to discuss those with you." "Okay," she said, surprised. It was a good proposal. What could he possibly want to change? In Lulenga's mind, Mwamba's voice was clear. Step 2, renegotiate the terms of the agreement. He took a breath. "If you are to be my wife," he said, voice low and steady, "you cannot belong to another. I will not allow it." Mami Wata blinked, confused. "I do love Kitapo's mother," he continued, "but she is married to another man, and because of that, I cannot claim her. If I marry you, I will belong to you, and I expect the same from you." His face was stern. This was not a request. She hesitated. The day had drained her. She couldn't think clearly anymore. "Okay," she said weakly. "I cannot have my children's parentage questioned." She nodded slowly. "That is fair," she said, and she meant it. But then he added, he wasn't done. Her chest tightened. "There's more?" She almost gasped. Lulenga could hear Mwamba again. "Step 3, assert yourself, show power. This is the moment she must feel your fire." Lulenga took a step closer. She stood still, fragile, raw. She had said yes to everything. She had nothing left in her. Now, what? "I did not like the way you came into my kingdom and proposed to me," he said. Her heart dropped. He stared straight into her, unblinking. "Stories will be told that Mami Wata proposed to the great Lulenga, and that he accepted." A pause, a beat too long. "I cannot have that." Mami Wata's throat tightened. She didn't speak, she didn't move. She understood he was king, he needed to own the story. She had moved too fast. She should have seduced him. That was her strength. Seduction. She should have waited for him to want her first. In her mind, she was already leaving, riding back to her kingdom in shame. This had gone terribly wrong. The longest, hardest day of her life. Lulenga turned his back to her. He walked to a cabinet, opened it, retrieved something. Then he came back and knelt, her breath caught, in his hand a ring. "Mami Wata," he said, "will you marry me?" She gasped. "What?" she whispered. "Will you marry me?" he asked again, voice full now, steady, almost tender. She stared at him. She wanted to cry, she wanted to laugh. All of it hit her at once. Hope, fear, relief, exhaustion. "Yes," she said softly. Lulenga smiled. Mwamba had been right about everything. And then, Mamba's voice in his mind again, this is the most important part. Be brave. The final step. The element of surprise. Lulenga stood up. His hands were shaking a little, though his face showed none of it. Mami Wata didn't notice. She was too overwhelmed. He came closer. Too close. Then he kissed her. Deep, certain, possessive. He kissed her as though he was claiming her, not just as a queen, but as his woman. Mami Wata didn't expect it. She froze. Her mind raced. And then, she softened. Her lips opened to him. She let him kiss her, let him explore her mouth. And when it ended, she pulled back, breathless. Now she understood what people meant when they said someone took their breath away. Lulenga had done exactly that. She stared at him, stunned. She had underestimated him. She had come here thinking she would be in control, that he would bend to her, and instead she had fallen. He looked at her, but she lowered her eyes. She looked at the floor, like a shy girl. She smiled, looked down again, then smiled again. "You surprised me, Lulenga," she said quietly. He said nothing, just looked at her. And far away in the back of his mind, Mamba laughed. "All women are the same," he had said. "You just need to reach that place." The girl inside them. And here she was, Mami Wata, the fierce queen of the waters, smiling, looking down. "Wamba, you devil," Lulenga thought with a grin. He reached out and gently lifted her chin. Her eyes met his, and for the first time she truly looked at him. Not through him, not past him, like she did with most. Mami Wata rarely saw people, not in this way. But now, she saw Lulenga, and he saw her. The air between them shifted, slowed. Then Lulenga leaned in, boldly but not rushed. He kissed her again. This time it was different, slower, softer, a kiss that took its time as if he wanted to memorize her. His lips moved with care, every touch intentional. There was no fire this time, just warmth, curiosity, wonder. Maybe they both felt it, that this was not just about power or politics. Maybe this was the start of something real. After all, they were engaged now, and it wouldn't hurt to get to know each other well, very well. And that, my dear tribe, brings us to the end of another spellbinding episode in our Mermaids, Lion People and Witches series. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. In this week's chapter, Raya attempts to seduce Shumba, but he holds back, tormented by the looming fear of the god Naraka. Meanwhile, Kosa decides that Raya is no longer of any use to him, shattering her hopes and breaking her heart. Elsewhere, Chipo tries to train her happy, clueless little dog, but Jabali raises a question. Why hasn't she named the dog yet? Chipo jokes that she's waiting to hear from the ancestors, but Akina isn't amused, leaving both father and daughter stunned. Later, Akina seeks out Nyala, the witch, who reveals a hidden truth about the Sisterhood. If Kitapo receives the gift, the Sisterhood will no longer be able to reach Chipo. It's the only chance to save her daughter from a fate already bound to her bones. And in the depths of the ocean, Mami Wata waits, hoping for Lulenga's response to her proposal. But when she finally stands before him, she is taken aback. Lulenga has made changes, strategic ones, carefully scripted by Mwamba, the ever-calculating mastermind behind the scenes. The plan unfolds perfectly. To Mami Wata's astonishment, Lulenga proposes marriage. She is stunned into silence. Then, slowly, they seal the moment with a kiss. And for the first time, they truly see each other. Not as rulers, not as rivals, but as something more. What will happen next, we'll just have to wait and see. Until then, stay wild, stay curious, and stay ready for what's to come. A big shout out to the tribe. Thank you for your incredible comments, your thoughtful insights, and the love you continue to pour into this story. From sharing how much you adore the tribe to offering ideas that shape the direction of the tale, your voice matters deeply. I don't take it for granted. Thank you for being part of this journey, for adding to our shared history, and for keeping the spirit of storytelling alive. From my heart to yours. Thank you, truly. Want to support the channel and become an even bigger part of our tribe? You can join for as little as the cost of a coffee each month. Your support helps me continue creating the content you love, but of course, just having you here is already more than enough. Thank you for being part of this journey. To those of you who have already joined the tribe, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are truly the heartbeat of this channel. And as always, thank you for watching our story, and we hope you enjoyed it. What lessons did you draw from this story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the tribe. Thank you for watching The Tales of the Savannah. We will see you next time in the Savannah.